everyone. This is Henny Espinosa with Just Wish Foundation. Today, we will get to know a group of young girls from Alabama who are passionate, who are smart, who are hardworking students, who love science and technology, and they also want to inspire other young people to be in the field. Today, we are joined by Mark and Emily King of the Nerdettes. Hello, guys.
Hello.
So Mark, let's start with you. I know science and technology have always been a big part of your life, right? Tell us your experience and kind of how you've used your skills to also inspire other young people to go into the field.
Okay, so my dad was a machinist, and so I've always been kind of naturally drawn to working on things and figuring out how things work. So ended up majoring in engineering in college at University of Tennessee, and then when we had Emily, I just kind of always drug her along on any of my projects and would hand her a screwdriver or a wrench to kind of help me out. And even though I'm an electrical engineer, I still do a lot of mechanical stuff, and I don't know, it just grew from there. She's always been very adept at working with tools, and I just kind of take it for granted now that she knows how to work with tools, and I'll hand another teammate a screwdriver and they're like, okay, which way does this screw go? And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. So it's just so natural that Emily knows from hanging out with me, but I love just passing that along to the next generation.
So for you, Emily, you grew up, basically you were born into this. You know, since you were a kid, you've seen your dad, you've witnessed your dad. I mean, he's passionate about what he does. He's been in the field for decades, right, Mark? I mean, more than 30 years with NASA. I mean, when you were young, I understand at 7 years old, you got into robotics. I mean, what was it about robotics that really got you hooked?
Well, when I was 7 years old, it was just something that my dad made me do because he wanted me to get into something like that. And at 7 years old, I was terrified. And I was like, why am I not in my dance class? And then, ever since then, that day that I went to that robotics meeting with the co-ed robotics team, which was the girls and the boys, it really just kind of piqued my interest. And I liked it more than I liked dancing and all that other girly stuff that I used to do. But the problem was that I didn't like doing it co-ed. I didn't like doing it with the boys. And that's it's nothing against guys. Like, my dad's an engineer and I like doing robotics with him, but I don't like doing it with boys who are just going to automatically assume that I'm not interested in robotics itself. I want to be around people who know that we all can do robotics. We can all do mechanical. We can all do programming. We can all do poster. It's something that we can all work on together, not just boys do the technical and girls do the outreach. It's a collaborative thing with everyone.
Got it. So when you were younger, was it hard for you to find other like-minded young girls? Or I mean, did you encourage your friends to, hey, you guys, let's do this? Or was it easy for you to find other young girls who were interested?
It kind of started after that year. My parents went and talked to my Girl Scout troop, and that's how we found so many girls that wanted to try, was through that troop. But through trying it for the first year, we started out with 8 members, and we grew our team that year, and only 4 of them stayed. So it was easy to get it started. Everyone wanted to try it, but only about half of the girls actually enjoyed it. So then we became a 4-person team, which is pretty small for a robotics team.
So Mark, I understand this was in 2014, right? This was the start of the Nerdettes. Did you immediately become involved? Did you see the potential in this group? Did you feel I need to mentor my daughter and these other young girls?
So like most kind of club activities, they're always looking for additional help, especially from parents that are somewhat fluent in whatever the club is. So I was not coaching the team at the time. The Nerdettes was started by another family, and so I was just helping as a mentor as needed in whatever whatever side group needed help that week, because there's always a lot of different activities going on at robotics meetings. So that family decided they were going to get out of robotics. So the choices were disband the team, or I would have to step up and be coach. So I didn't really want to disband the team. I enjoyed it. And I thought it was great for the girls. And so I stepped up and have a co-coach, Eric Holzenbach, that is my other coach that helps. And then we have several mentors that also help with the team. So it takes a tribe to keep this running.
It's got like one adult per kid now. So
that's great. Your guys are getting so much support. Now, Emily, tell us really what are the functions of the Nerdettes? For those who are not really tech and science savvy, kind of break it down for us. Like, what do you guys do? What are the different functions? What is your role in this? Tell us about all the good stuff.
Okay, so the Nerdettes is a FIRST robotics team, FIRST Tech Challenge. So we're about the mid-level of FIRST. The bottom level is FLL, which is where I started, FIRST Lego League. And when you go to FTC, which is FIRST Tech Challenge, and then FIRST Robotics. FIRST Robotics is something that we could be doing if we wanted to, but it's a lot bigger, it's a lot more time consuming, and it's a lot more expensive. So we decided to stick with FIRST Tech Challenge because it's what we enjoy. But we've been a FIRST Tech Challenge team for about 5 years now. And on the team, I am this year's team captain. I do mechanical, and I'm on the drive team, which means I drive the robot and I build the robot. When I'm driving the robot, I only drive the chassis part. So I don't drive the mechanisms. I don't drive the arm. I only drive the wheels. My co-person that does the other controller for driving is Sydney, and she'll control the arm while I'm controlling the base. That way we can be focusing on one thing at a time. So that's kind of how the robot gets driven. Me and Sydney are both mechanical, which means we design and build the robot. Whereas Haley and Megan, they are programmers. So they program the robot to drive. So every single wheel on that robot is programmed to drive correctly. Every function on it is programmed to our controller. So it's nothing is pre-programmed. They program everything that moves on that robot.
Wow.
And then Ellen and Lily are this year's CAD team. So they design the pieces that I physically cannot buy to put on the robot. So stuff like this that's pink and 3D printed are things that we've had to have Ellen or Lily design for us because you can't buy it and we want it to be custom. And we make it pink because we're the Nerdettes. So those are the three main jobs in robotics: programming, mechanical, and CAD. And then we have our drive team, which pretty much everyone on the team is on one or the other of the drive teams. We have 2 drive teams, and everyone helps because we also have a human player, which is the person that sits on the field and does the things like puts the cones in the field for the robot to grab. So that's a human player's job.
Wow.
What else do we do?
So Mark, how important is teamwork in all of this? Obviously, everyone has important functions, right? And is everyone supposed to be synchronized, or can they do it on their own, or is everyone has to know what the other team members are doing?
No single part of the robot can function without the other parts of the robot. Like, even though Emily drives the chassis, the programmers had to program her controller that lets her drive the chassis, and so all of the pieces are integrated. Even though when they're working in our meetings, they're typically working in we call it their discipline area, mechanical, CAD or programming or electrical. So, but at the start of every meeting, we kind of sit around and talk as a group about what the robot as a system needs to do, and then they'll break out into their separate groups and work on their piece, and then we try to get back together near the end of the meeting and look at any modifications and see how it functions at that point.
So tell us how the group has grown, has succeeded through the years. What have been the major awards for the group, Emily?
So we compete every year, and every year we've won a trophy every year for usually outreach. Usually our outreach is what helps us win. But until last year, we had never won the opportunity to go to Worlds. Every year we compete in state and we do well in our state, but we have never made it to the Worlds competition, which is what everyone's fighting for. Every state has 2 World spots. So we compete in 3 states. So that gives us 6 shots to go to Worlds. And last year was our first year making it there. And we made it 2nd place in Spire, which is almost awesome. We're so close. So we won 2nd place in Spire and we made it to Worlds last year.
Wow.
So we didn't really care what award we won. We were just excited to get to go for the first time. But this year we're fighting to win 1st place in Spire so that we go on our own terms versus last year. We only went because another team had already gone. So we got their spot.
Sorry, the first time you guys went to Worlds, that was pretty historic for Alabama, yes. Right? Is that correct?
We were the only team from Alabama to go last year.
There have been other teams in previous years from Alabama that go to Worlds.
Yeah, but not last year. And we're also the only all-girls team to go from Alabama.
Wow.
But this year we just came back from Tennessee State last weekend, and we won 1st place in robot, which is, we've never done that before. We weren't running the alliance though, so we didn't get to go to Worlds from that, but we were the co-team to the alliance that did one, so we got our first big trophy because we won robot. We were 1st place. I think that would be like the number 2 team out of 49 teams or 39 teams that were there, so that was super awesome. And then we won 2nd place in Spire again.
This is nationwide, or this is
state. We're still competing in state. Okay. We're still trying to get to go to Worlds. So we just went to Tennessee and we got 2nd place in Spire again, but we didn't get to go to Worlds. So we're hoping that this weekend we'll win 1st place in Spire.
Wow, cross fingers. And I'm sure so the big dream is to win Worlds, right? That would be
we love just getting the opportunity to go to Worlds is a really big deal in itself. So that's our main goal.
There's 160 teams competing at
worldwide. Yeah, they're worldwide, and there's a lot smarter people there than us.
Wow. And are they also all girls or not necessarily?
No, we're about the only all-girls team in the South. So
wow.
It's not very common. There's a couple of all-girls teams from Tennessee, actually, I think. Maybe. Wow. I don't know. There's a few. We're the only one in Alabama right now.
How many did you see at Worlds? I forgot.
There was 3 all-girls teams at Worlds out of 180 teams or something.
That's
so
girl power.
It's not very common.
Yeah. So Mark, just describe for us kind of what the judges are looking for usually in these competitions. Is it how do they judge the teams?
So the way the competitions work, the girls or the team has to go in and present their robot to a panel of judges. They get a 10-minute time slot, 5 minutes on their own to talk about their design and their team and their outreach. It's a whole package deal in an engineering notebook. So that's part of it. And then later in the day, they do qualification matches. It's 2-on-2 teams on the robot field, which is a 12x12 field. You can see part of it behind us. And then they get ranked throughout the day. The top 4 teams get to form a alliance for the semifinals and finals, and they then compete. They pick that's how Emily and the Nerdettes got to be part of the winning alliance
The 1st place team picked us to be on their alliance. Wow. We did not do well last competition. Our robot broke, so we were the number 16 team. So it's very, very rare for the 1st place team to pick the number 16 team, but they had faith in us, and I'm glad they did, because usually 1st place will pick 2nd place, and then they'll form this really super awesome alliance because they're both the top teams. But 1st place picked 16, which never happens.
Something in you guys.
They did.
They saw something in the team. So
that's great. That's great.
That's how so one team gets chosen to go to Worlds, whoever the captain of the winning alliance. We were part of the alliance. We weren't the captain.
Yeah, the captain gets to go to Worlds.
And then the other team that gets to go to Worlds is the Inspire Award, which is the top award that takes in consideration the engineering, the outreach, just the team dynamics, the judging interview. So that's how it works.
Nice. How do you guys name your robots? How many robots have you guys created?
This would
This is our
be
fourth year.
this would be like my fifth FTC robot. This is my fifth
Wow.
FTC, but we make we made 2 this year, so that makes 6, and we make a lot of robots. But this year's main robot is named Snuffy.
Oh wow. What's the name?
Snuffy. That's Nuffie.
What's the acronym? I forgot.
Spectacular Nerdettes are unique, fabulous friends indefinitely.
So it has a meaning. That's great. That's great.
It's something that our military mentor called our team one time, and it just stuck. He called us Snuffies.
Yeah. So, so Emily, when you go into these competitions and you see that, there are not a lot of all girls teams, how do you feel? That must be empowering for you to go in there. You guys are all girls and you guys are badasses, How do you feel about that?
I think we really enjoy it because, you walk in there and people do not expect much from our team ever. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, they're going to lose. Like, you kind of get counted out a little bit, and it's fun to walk in there and just be like, the underdog that kind of just takes everyone out silently. Like last weekend we were competing, and there was this team of all boys, and they were dressed like frat boys, and they were not very nice to us the entire weekend. And alliance rounds come along, and they're like number 6, and we're number 16, and they're like, oh, y'all are gonna lose. Like, they were just mean the entire time. They're like, you don't have a shot. Like, they were just mean. And we went up there and we beat them in the first round. So
oh my gosh, wow. So now they that shut them up, right?
They left. They didn't stick around for awards. They just left. They couldn't face us after that. That was pretty bad. They also told one of my teammates that they didn't like girls. So it's just odd. That's not super uncommon. It's shocking to walk somewhere and like genuinely just have someone look at you and say, I don't like girls. Don't stand with me. Because she was going over there to go dance with them because she thought it was funny. They're like, don't come over here. We don't like girls. And Sydney was like, oh. And, but that's not
you guys are showing
them.
What girls are made of, what girls can be. And I think that's such an important message to other young girls who feel like this is such a daunting. I grew up not liking science and technology because I just felt it was, there's always that, all girls should, like you said earlier, like that's
exactly.
How girls feel.
That's something that we like to push, is not that boys are not good at STEM, but it's that girls shouldn't be scared to try it too. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people take our talk about how girls need to get into STEM as boys shouldn't, and that's not it at all. It's that girls and boys are both good at STEM, and that if you're a girl, you don't need to walk in there dressed like a boy, acting like a boy. You can walk in there with your skirt and beat everyone in that room. You're just good at what you do. It doesn't matter if you're a girl. It doesn't matter if you dress like a girl. It doesn't matter if you act like a girl. That's why we're pink. Yeah, because we're gonna act like girls in STEM.
Proud pink. So really quickly, Mark, what's that behind you? Is that the robot?
Oh, that's our robot for this year.
That's Snuffy. That's Snuffy.
Oh wow! Hi, Snuffy.
It's pink. Everyone else has yellow wheels, but we took them apart and we painted them pink, which took forever. This is our 3D printed logo that Ellen made for us in pink. We have our pink arm. Right here. Everything is pink. That can be.
Those are all the girls designed and printed, 3D printed all the pink parts on the robot.
Except for the wheels.
How long does it take from the planning process to actually creating it, Mark?
So they roll out the challenge in September, early September, and we usually have the first running robot November-ish.
No, it runs by like September.
It may run around on the field. Yeah. Won't be able to pick anything up or anything.
So a couple of months, right? It's about
it takes like 2 months to get it to be able to do something impressive. And then you have to decorate it. So that adds time.
But I'm just so excited for you guys because I feel like, this passion comes from within. I can feel your passion. And I feel like if you have that energy, it's so easy to inspire other young girls to also feel that, because it's genuine. And you guys really are dreaming big and showing girls that they can dream big as well. So for our part with Just Wish Foundation, we really try to support young people who are determined to make a mark in this world. And so for that, like, we would like to do our part in helping you with whatever you need for your competition. So Mr. Jack, we're founder and Just Wish Foundation. We would like to make a monetary donation to the Nerdettes, and we wish you guys luck. And we are rooting for you guys, and I'm sure you go all the way. So thank you so much, Emily and Mark, and
Thank
good
you.
luck to the Nerdettes.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Appreciate the support.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Just a shot away from the corner where I used to play with my friends as a kid. I saw a man with a pulled up collar playing banjo with an invisible stick.